Hey guys, so we're live at the Faf du Plessis book event, and I got my buddy here with me, Nazir. He's now here in Cape Town with me. I didn't even know he was in Cape Town. Now I know, but he's here with me. We're at the book launch. You asked the question. I didn't get to capture it. I got a picture of it, but just tell the fans what your question was and what Faf had to say.
So basically, I asked Faf in that 2015 game against India at the Wanderers why we didn't chase down the 430 odd that we almost got there and we didn't. And I asked him if he still thinks that was the correct decision. Basically, what he said was he thought at the time if they lost one more wicket at that time, they would just go for the draw because there was only two matches and they could win it at the next match. So he said that in hindsight it was the correct decision because they won the series at the end of the day.
Yeah, no. There was quite a few questions asked actually. They asked him about Timba. He spoke a lot about the fact that he's a good captain and what he's had to deal with over the last couple of years. And he said that it's separate performance, batting, and captaincy. So it was an interesting take from Faf actually. In my opinion, always been the best captain that we've ever had, in my opinion. So I don't know how you feel about Faf in that regard in his captaincy.
Yeah, I think I don't know about best captain we've ever had, but I think as a at face value, he seems like he's brought a lot of change to the culture of the team and the dynamic of the team. That's what I really like to see from Faf from the outside. I'm not sure how it is in the inside, but from the outside, I really think he seems to have changed the culture and he's really likable, one of the most likable captains in cricket, not just South African cricket, but in cricket in general.
Yeah, I mean, I've had experiences with Faf. I actually wrote a piece on Faf about a year or 2 or 3 ago, I think, talking about what he's done for me as a journalist, without him even actually knowing it. He picked out that I'm a young journo in the industry, and he always used to make an effort to try and give me longer answers, knowing that I was young. I actually asked him the question off air and asked him whether that is the case, if he's actually doing that because I'm a young journo, and he just smiled at me, and he didn't want to say that that was the case. So I automatically assumed that that was it. A magnificent person. I've interviewed him a few times and really, really enjoyed every single moment of it. His insight, he always gives you long answers. So Faf is a great guy. What we're going to try and do over here, myself and Nazir, is we're going to try and talk to a couple of fans today. I'm going to try to pull them over and ask them a couple of questions just about Faf and meeting Faf and what it was like. So we're going to see what we can do. We see a fan over here. Do you want to come to chat to us quickly about Faf? We're with Cricket Fanatics magazine. Okay, you cool. It won't be a hectic question or anything. I just come say hello to us. How's it, man? What's your name?
Antonio.
How are you enjoying this event so far?
No, it's been amazing. I mean, I didn't really know most of the facts that he spoke about at his book launch, but yeah, he's an amazing guy. No, it's been awesome.
Yeah, have you gotten your book signed yet?
Yeah,
Or
I
you
did.
can show it to the camera. I would love to see the signature. It would be awesome. Yeah, so that's Faf's book. Okay, we're gonna try to show it. It's gonna go a little closer. Closer. That's Faf's signature, guys. Don't forge it. You haven't read it yet at all?
No,
Cool.
I just got it now. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, and did you listen to any of the stories at the amphitheater early on? What stood out to you?
I mean, the one when JP Dumini thought he saw the heaven, but it was just Faf's flashlight. I mean, that was hilarious. So, I mean, if there's some similar stories like that, I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this book.
Okay, awesome. Enjoy it, man. Nice. Thank you, talking. Yeah, so let's continue. We'll see who else is here. I mean, as you can see, guys, we've got some of the journals sitting there. As you know, we've got Faf over there. He's obviously going to be signing books at the moment. So we're trying our best to get him, but we're gonna have to wait for this long ass line. Look at over this. Everybody over here waiting to get their book signed, drinking some drinks and wine, etc. So I'm hoping that we're gonna get some chat with Faf. He's meeting a lot of these people that he knows from the past, etc. So it's good to see all of that. Nazir, let's talk a little bit more until we find the next fan to chat to. I want to give it back to you actually to ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Nazir, what's your name?
Hi, Rohit. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too. So we're obviously all here for the Faf du Plessis book launch. What did Faf, out of all the captains we've had in South Africa, where would you rank Faf in that list?
Oh, that's a tough one, eh? I'm not going to put a number on it, but I'd rank him pretty highly. And I think just knowing him as a person, just knowing what he brings to just South African sport and to South African cricket, I think Yeah, I'd rate him pretty highly. Eh?
Okay, and then what's your most memorable Faf du Plessis moment for South Africa?
So probably my most memorable one would have been it's kind of a weird memorable one, if I could put it like that. But that game that you actually mentioned, when we didn't go and chase and we decided to just call it a day, I thought that was a brave decision as a South African captain, and as he said, maybe the right one. And particularly if you think about where we are with cricket at the moment and baseball, and everyone's talking about that, it's a little bit different, the approach, it's more kind of a traditional approach, and maybe there is still value in doing something like that. So that's probably for me the most memorable moment.
Funny story about that game. I was at the match. I was living in Durban at the time, but I came to Joburg for the game.
Yeah.
And I watched 4 days and the first session, and my flight was on the 5th day, so I missed out on that last bit.
Oh my word.
Went on the plane, saw the score, and I was like, why did we not chase that?
Yeah.
Still haunts me to this day.
Oh yeah.
But enjoy the book.
Thank you
All
very
the
much,
best.
man. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for having me on. Man. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
With another fan. So Nazir at this time now, it's my turn. What's your name?
My name is Lawrence.
Lance. Nice to meet you, Lance.
Nice to
Do you
meet
play
you too.
cricket?
Sorry?
Do you play cricket?
No, I don't
No,
play.
not play cricket. Rugby?
Yes, I play rugby.
What position?
I play wing and scrum half.
Awesome. You know that AB de Villiers was a fly-off.
No, I didn't know
No,
that.
you didn't. What was it like to meet Faf? I mean, amazing captain. What was it like?
It was. I didn't expect meeting him today. It was very nice to meet him because I've heard a lot about him and I like his cricket and all the things he does, and he's a very awesome guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's always smiling, eh?
Yeah.
Do you like his fashion, the way he dresses?
Yeah, I like his sunglasses.
Awesome, man. Thank you a lot, Lance, for talking to me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, we've got a couple of fans. We obviously going to try to get Faf. That's like obviously the main one. Fidos is here. I don't know if you want me to chat to Fidos quickly about the game. Yeah, let's swap quickly. Hey Fidos. So,
Hi.
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm not in Australia.
I thought you were.
Looks can be deceiving.
You're doing an amazing job. It's like you're doing so much work that I thought you were there.
I'm doing so much work, that's for sure. I need a couple of months off, eh?
So, yeah. I mean, the way South Africa's gone in this World Cup has been phenomenal. I know we're here with Faf's book launch. I'll ask you a little bit of questions about that later. But we're obviously going to be playing Pakistan. I always said as fans, we want to see them win every single match. How do we go into this match, would you say? I mean, there's been a lot of drama around Temba and the batting positions. But I've stayed strong by saying that he's a great captain. And what he's done to this team to bring them together, he stood up when nobody wanted to. I mean, I thought that was a brave thing for him to do. So what's your thoughts on the whole situation and the protest currently?
Look, I think another great observation to make about Temba is in the last game where the spinners were going to struggle. And I think Temba sussed that really early. Keshav only bowled 3 overs. He got away with an over from Aiden Markram. He managed his bowlers excellently. So Temba Bavuma's value in the field is, we can't measure that in runs. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's got to score some runs as well. Yeah. But I think for as long as the team is winning, I think they can carry him. And I think they could probably carry him if they get to the semi-finals. I mean, I feel for Reza Hendricks. I think the guy should play. Yeah. But I actually can't see them making a change now. In terms of Pakistan, they lost 2 games that they shouldn't have lost, which only means that they're going to have to win one somewhere along the line. And I wonder if that will maybe be against South Africa. Remember, in 2015, it was Pakistan who derailed South Africa, and we ended up playing a semi-final against New Zealand. We lost in the group stage to Pakistan. So I wouldn't say that it's going to be a walkover, but South Africa are the only team that's unbeaten so far. All the favourites have been beaten. Australia have been beaten. New Zealand have been beaten. India, Pakistan, they've all been beaten. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're going to have to face that swinging delivery. We're going to have to look out for Shaheen Shah Afridi. I'm very scared of him particularly.
Look, I think he's also a little bit rusty, right? Because he's coming back from injury. He hasn't found his rhythm, and he said so. So I feel like Temba could possibly be in trouble against him. But I feel like he's not as dangerous as he might have been if he'd been playing all this time. I think maybe Shadab Khan could be quite difficult because we seem to struggle a little bit when we're up against somebody like him, and I think he's a very confident guy, he's a confidence player. South Africa's bowlers have been outstanding. So if you're thinking about the combination that South Africa have got, KG, Lungi, Anrik Nokia, You've got Marco Janssen in reserve. You've got Wayne Parnell up front. I really think maybe let's not be too optimistic. But if it's not this one, then I don't
know.
Then I don't know.
I mean, we're so hopeful that this is going to happen. I just want to get your final thoughts going into this match. Do you think that we have the firepower to be able to beat Pakistan from a batting perspective?
I think so, because I think Riley Rousseau's been an excellent touch. Quentin de Kock comes off when he comes off, but very impressive, I think, has been David Miller.
Yeah.
Because I really feel that the way he stepped up, the way he's batted over the last year, the responsibility that he's taking, he's showing me a little bit more maturity, not just me, all of us, than we've seen from him, I think, actually since his career started. So I feel if Tristan Stubbs comes off, if David Miller comes off, even Wayne Parnell can smack a few, right? So I feel like from a batting perspective, the only little concern is Temba. And is he even a concern if they're doing well? Maybe not. I do feel bad for Reza Hendricks, but I feel like it'll be enough.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on to Faf. I mean, for me, he's been the best captain we've had, in my opinion. Your thoughts on this book as well? I mean, you've seen some of the excerpts, of course, but I mean, your experiences with Faf. That's what I want to actually hear. The times that you've interviewed him, of course, from the beginning. You've seen him right through, coming through the system, of course. What's your thoughts on Faf du Plessis?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I covered his whole international career, right? So I was there on his debut in Adelaide, and the first thing that I really remember about that is that he was new to a lot of us. We didn't really know him from a personal perspective, and he had to come to the press conference that day. And I always like to ask a debutant, how was your first day? What did you do? Kind of thing. Yeah. And he told us this great story about how he didn't tie his shoelace properly, and as he was coming down the stairs at the Adelaide Oval, the shoelace was undone, and he was rushing to get out because he thought he'd be timed out, and he almost tripped over the shoelace. Crazy. And it was a young guy in his first match who was telling us this very entertaining story. And I remember afterwards the Australian reporter saying, like, wow, that guy, like, he really has a good storytelling technique. He speaks really well. He's so interesting and so entertaining. And I thought, sure, yeah, he's really got something. And then, of course, he scored the match-saving 100, and we were all very impressed by him. But I think I really enjoyed his leadership period. I thought he was, as you say, probably South Africa's best captain in that I think he understood how to deal with people. Yes. He understood how to deal with people, including those who were not playing, such as the media, such as coaches, support staff, fans. I mean, look at him. You can't see him, but there he is signing books and.
Yeah, we showed him a little bit earlier.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, so
he loves people. People love him. So. I mean, he's like an A-lister, right?
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, I told the story a little earlier on, but the first time I had a press conference with Faf, and it's almost like he understood that I was a young journalist the first time he saw me there, and he almost gave me longer answers, almost to try and help me out. And I asked him afterwards.
He doesn't understand word limits.
Yeah, he doesn't. But I asked him afterwards. Hi Faf, I know. He's like, "Oh, you're a new journalist." I know you're a new journalist. He said, "I've never seen you here before." And then I asked him, did you give me longer answers to help me out? And he just smiled and he walked away. And then I was like, okay, I understand. Like, he has that in his mind. So I want to ask you about the Faf as a human, because we get opportunities to interview them and talk to these guys off camera. Faf is a human being.
Very honest, which is really what I appreciate. And we don't get that a lot from sportsmen who have a facade to live up to, and I think who often are a bit nervous to actually tell us what's going on. So, one of my greatest memories of Faf was that he invited a few of us journalists to a meet and greet function at the Santon Sun, which was just before that summer when Sandpaper Gate happened. Oh, yes. And he wanted us to just talk about, what is it that we look for from the players in reporting. And then he wanted us to understand what they can and can't tell us. And we had a wonderful conversation that evening. I think what I really valued about him is that he understood that our job is not there to cheer them on. That our job is there to cast a critical eye on what they're doing. And when they win, we're overjoyed. And when they lose, we're going to look at the reasons why, and we're going to analyze it, and we're going to really make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. And he was always okay with that. So I guess I was as surprised as a lot of people when he stepped away. I know that season he was under a lot of pressure. As a journalist of color, I really appreciate that he made an effort to understand why, when he said we don't see color, that was a difficult and almost like a harsh truth for us to internalize as people of color. And we've subsequently had many conversations around that. I think he's done a lot of race work, which I'm not sure a lot of white people have done. I don't know if I can say that. But I feel like he has really made an effort to become a South African in the truest sense of the word. He understands what it means to represent the country, and by that I mean the people in the country. So we haven't always agreed, and I'm sure we won't always agree, but I think he's a great leader. I'm really happy for him that he's written this book. I know a lot of people will not be so happy that he's written this book. That's the chance he's taking, right? That's what he's decided he wants to share with the world, and I think that that's fabulous. And you know what? He's going to learn and one day write another book, which will be equally great.
Exactly. That's why it's called Through Fire.
That's it. That's it.
So thanks a lot, Fidos, for coming
Sure.
out.
Thanks, Khalid. Thanks for having me always.
Sure.
Okay, Faf, what's your predictions? Who's making the final for the World Cup and who's winning?
South Africa versus New Zealand, protest all the way.
Okay, so come on, boys.
Hey guys, so we at the Faf du Plessis book launch and Through the Fire. You really went through the fire with this one?
I did. I mean, I had to. That's the only way I could do it. As hard as it was, I had to be true to who I wanted to be in the book, and honest and vulnerable is two of the things that I cherish most. So, yeah, it's me and my open soul for everyone to read about.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you and see you again, Faf. And for something so good like this, we chatted to a couple of fans. They really enjoyed your performance, I would say, at the amphitheater. It was some great questions. What were the pick of the questions for you?
Yeah, I mean, probably the guys who said I choked, like the young kid. He put me on the spot there as well. Some tough questions. Luckily, there's a bit of experience in working through difficult questions there with the youngster. But look, I'm so grateful for everyone to come through tonight. People come and watch you when you play cricket because they love cricket. But when they come and support you a night like this, I'm really grateful for that.
What was the reason for you writing this book? When did you wake up and decide, okay, cool, I'm going to do this book?
Yeah, I think it was, I mean, initially, as I said out there, it was people dropped the idea of writing a book, and I didn't feel like I had the time or the energy or the purpose to really do it. And when lockdown came, it was like, okay, let me try this and see if there's something that I feel is of value out there that I can put in. Leadership, culture, relationships were the two things that I was just writing, going back on notepads all the years of captaincy and team chats and everything, just going through all of the notes. And then I was like, there's actually some really cool stuff here. And then, the relationship with Australia as well, there's so much. And it just started happening, and I got almost obsessed with just getting it out of me. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. It was supposed to be a 6-month, maximum year project. It turned out to be a 2.5-year thing, so hard work. But I was also saying to the guys, look, it's going to take the amount of time that it takes for the books to be ready. If it's not, then we'll just wait. So obviously the story changed a little bit towards the end. Yeah, I mean, when I started writing it, I was still playing for South Africa, or at COVID time, still playing for South Africa. So the book almost like unfolded the way life did. So some hard stuff to speak about there in the book, but also just me being as true to be as I can be and as real as possible.
Okay, so which chapter? Because I know when these type of books come out, there's always a chapter maybe that you're a little bit scared about or maybe a little bit nervous about. Which chapter were you most nervous about to release to the fans?
Look, I think, once again, it was important for me to be honest about things that I suppose hasn't really been spoken about before. But the point of all of that was never to be controversial. It was still always to try and protect people because that's in my nature. But you have to be honest. And I think there was a lot of stories in the book that is this crossroads of being brutally honest, but also not hurting people in the process, because that's never the intention of it all. So it was just like, I need to be honest about everything that happened. People expect that from me. I expect that from myself. So all the stories that that happened, 2015 World Cup, 2019 World Cup, the thing around AB, my personal life, some of the stuff with my family, relational things that I had challenges with. And then the last part, I think the last part was the hardest to go through, because that was the real emotion of everything and working through that last part. So Yeah, different. There's not one chap that was different. I think the easiest one to talk about was the relationship with Australia. Like that was
insane.
the sand. I said it outside. I think Sandpaper Gate is for me the best chapter in the book because it just goes through so much that is amazing content.
That was my first series, Australia series
Yeah,
ever. It was crazy.
Yeah.
See, being in the front seat when Smith said what he said was insane to this witness it.
Yeah.
Going on to the projects, just if you have a message to the projects, how impressed have you been with them so far? I mean, they're going to be facing Pakistan. It's going to be difficult conditions in Australia. It's not normal to the normal conditions we've seen in Australia.
Look, I think what helps us is the fact that we've got the right team for those conditions. I mean, if you have to pick a place in the world where we want to play outside South Africa with the team that we have, it would be Australia because we have more pace than other guys in terms of the variety in our attack. We've got tall bowlers, so pace and bounce is something that we have. We've got a good left arm options in Pani and Marco Janssen as well as a backup left arm seamer, and then two amazing spinners that is just so different. So bowling attack, I think, hands down the best, and then from a batting perspective, we've got guys in form, which is the most important thing at a World Cup. I mean, I've been there, I've seen. You struggle. Some guys struggle for form, and it's just hard work because it's not easy. It doesn't flow. So the fact that Riley is in the form of his life, David Miller is in the form of his life, Quinny is off some runs, really is good for that batting lineup.
In your opinion, I think Pavuma's been doing a great job as a captain. He said his choices in the field and stuff, it looks very similar to the things that you used to do. Suddenly make decisions in the middle when there's pressure on. Have you been impressed with his captaincy?
I have. I mean, as I said outside, I think from a leadership perspective, he's carried himself really well. Almost like you can see there's a maturity around him as a person and as a leader. So, yeah, he's done a great job. He's worked the team through some challenging times. Like last year, the World Cup was one moment where you saw him stand up and be a good leader in that team. So I think you can see that everyone is backing his leadership capabilities. Obviously, the runs part is something that people are talking about. Temba knows that he needs to score some runs. That's part of what we do. The currency of playing the game is they're going to measure you at your runs that you score. But it looks like they're going to back him for the whole World Cup, which is, as a captain, that's what you want. You want your dressing room to back you, your coach to back you. So at least that's very obvious to see.
And last question is, Deva Brevis did a madness yesterday. He said, if you had one piece of advice for Deva Brevis, what would it be?
No, I think Devil's got a great head on his shoulders. So I think that would be, when you speak to a young guy, you try and just pull him in check with, like, not getting ahead of yourself. But my conversations I've had with him, he's got a very good head on his shoulders. So his feet's on the ground. I don't think he's looking too far and too wide about everything that's being spoken about him. Still want to play Test cricket, which I think is amazing. Like someone like him is not pulled into the T20 game, you know, like that dream of still doing that for South Africa in all three formats. So my advice would just be keep your head down, keep working hard, don't get over yourself, which he's not doing. So I think he's got a bright future for South Africa.
So we're currently at Exclusive Boot Waterfront. That's where you can get the book. Where else can we get the book?
Oh, everywhere in bookstores right across the country, and then Take a Lot, and then Amazon. We're going to be doing Kindle edition, ebook worldwide.
Thank you very much. Thanks,